Well, here we are, another afternoon. It's very, very hot outside. If you live anywhere in the northern hemisphere, you probably feel the same. So we are inside. We are going to be enjoying a cool-ish bottle of wine. You know, given that Hani was visiting Tuscany this week, we're going to be supportive of him and have some Tuscan wine. Today, it's a Sangiovese called Lerta by two brothers, Paolo and Lorenzo Marchioni. And it's made in a small village called Vignona, I think, in just right, outside of Florence, maybe 10 dozen miles west of Florence. It's not a big property. It's just these two brothers. They started making wine, I think, in the early 90s when they were sort of in their late teens. They just grew up in the area. Their parents were like doctors and things like this. They weren't really in the business. They kind of spent their childhood hanging out with in vineyards with winemakers, and they made some friends. And they decided that when they grew up, they wanted to make their own wine. And so they started. I think their first vintage was in 1997. They make two reds, this one and another one with a different name. This is called Poggio Della Bruna, and that is a Sangiovese. The other one is has a different name. I'm sorry, it's kind of another long name, but it is made of Sangiovese and Cabernet, and they make it Trebbiano. It's a very small production of white. 90% of their grapes are really Sangiovese, so it's really a Sangiovese house. I just got to know them basically at a wine tasting. Again, it's one of those things where you go to your local wine store if they have really, broad and diverse wine tastings. When it's not just about marketing one brand or one maker, but it's really it's a regional tasting or a particular vintage, so that then you can learn a lot of things by trying different things. And so I tasted, I think one of the brothers were there. I tasted this wine. I said, wow, this is pretty good. It's not, it's a little bit more expensive than a regular Chianti, but it's not a Chianti. This is a Sangiovese, so it's got a bit more freedom, I guess, in where the grapes are grown, but it is really from the Chianti region. I'm not quite sure why it's not classified as Chianti. Maybe they don't want to. And it was pretty good, as I remember. This is 2013. Which was a good year for that region, and it's now in its drinking window. Let's see what we have here on the nose. I do. It's that typical Sangiovese thing. A little bit of bitterness, a little bit of that dark cherry, but there's something more to it. There's a bit of camphor, which I get sometimes some of the Northwest sort of Cabernets or something like this. And it's the color. If you look at the color is a little lighter than regular, Chianti, let's say. And I think it's because, and it's a little bit more of that. It's starting to break, and it could be the age. It could be just the fruit. This is the whole production is very basically by hand. It's organic. They're farmed by hand. The grapes are separated early on, and they're sort of vinified separately. They go into the cellar right away. They don't sit outside, for more than a couple of hours. So it's a kind of a work-intensive process that they believe in, and they've continued to do all this time. It's opening up some more. You do get that, again, cherry that's typical to the Chianti. A little bit of anise. A little bit of that tan leather, as Hani was describing, which is this sort of comes from the tannins, comes from the earth. Let's taste it. I remember now why I liked it the first time. It's really very good. I can't really describe all the different elements, but to me, it doesn't taste, and that's good or bad. It doesn't just taste like a really good Chianti. It's got something else to it, something more I would say northern. I'm not quite sure what that is. A little bit of sort of that depth, a little bit of that restraint, but not too much. It's just very enjoyable, and it's kind of, you know, one of these things you're happy you found it, you want to buy more of it. Again, it's not a cheap wine, you know, for a Sangiovese. It's in the mid-30s, but again, it's not expensive. And I would recommend that if you run into these makers, the two brothers, or this particular label, you should try it out. It's got everything. It's got the nice nose. It's got the mouthful. It's got the you know, the age, because right now the 2015 is in the market, so you're gonna get a little bit of bottle age no matter what, and then you're gonna be able to enjoy it right away. Anyway, cheers, and this is it for Tuscany. Maybe we'll the next one will be from a different region. Who knows? Thanks.